Hi everybody, I'm Bree the Plant Lady, and today I just wanted to give you a quick video to give you some information about what to do, or more specifically what not to do to your plants that are in the ground as temperatures start to crash and we have some sustained freezing and temperatures in the mid-teens coming up in about a week here in central North Carolina. So the number one question that I've been getting inundated with is, what do I do for the poppies? And the answer is like crushingly simple. Nothing. Do nothing to your poppies. Do not do anything to your poppies. Okay, repeat after me. Do not do anything to your poppies. If you took my advice and you sowed your poppies basically after Thanksgiving, they will have no trouble getting through this cold snap. Even if you live in a colder region, poppies are remarkably cold hardy, and they are completely fine with no covering, no nothing. Just walk away and leave them as they are. You're more likely to do more damage by walking in the bed or covering them than you are just letting nature take its course. I know this is really hard and you may be emotionally connected to every single one of your seedlings, but I promise you, less is more. And I've been growing poppies for over 20 years. The less you do to them, the better they will be. Let me turn the camera around and show you what I'm talking about. All right, so here we've got poppies that were sown the week of Thanksgiving. And look at how tiny they are. They're so little. Guess what? At this stage, they're more cold hardy than ever. This is exactly the reason that I encourage people to wait until late November and December to sow their poppies, because at this stage, they will not be impacted by freezing, not impacted by extended freezing. Mid-teens, no big deal whatsoever. In fact, I have had poppies survive 2 degrees at this stage. They are totally cold hardy. I think they're actually cold hardy to like -15, which is why I generally say that this late fall sowing is advice for zones 6 through 9. At this stage, your poppies do not need you to interfere with them in any capacity. Okay? Just leave them alone. Don't cover them. Don't do anything. Just leave them alone. What if your poppies are in a pot? Well, leave them alone. Leave them alone. I promise you, leave them alone. I'm not going to do anything to this container. It's going to be as it is. And because everything is really small and at the stage, they're going to be totally fine. Now, the one piece of advice that is especially for plants in containers, but also for plants in the ground, if you have been dry, give them some water before the cold snap comes. Now, if you live in the southeast like me, you are not dry, not one bit. We have been consistently wet. You're really probably not going to need to add any water to your plants. But remember, water is great insulation. So is ice. So if your pots or your ground are dry before you are about to have really cold temperatures, go ahead and irrigate everything really well so that you'll make sure that your plants and their root systems have some extra insulation. Now, hopefully none of you have poppies or larkspur that are this advanced. Remember, these are self-sown, and this is the stage where I would say there's a potential that they might die from the cold weather. And this again is why I'm very strategic in my planting time. Self-sown, generally they germinate too early, and then they're really tender when temperatures crash, and they're not as well adapted as those tiny seedlings. Now I'm going to use this as an experiment, and we'll see how they fare with this recent cold snap that's coming up. Okay, so remember, think about it like when you watch the news and you hear what the citrus farmers in Florida are doing, right? They run their irrigation systems so that ice will encase the plants, so that they will be extra protected when the temperatures drop. The same thing can go for, ornamental plants like poppies, any of these cottage garden things. They're all super cold hardy, okay? I wouldn't be giving you the advice to sow them in the late fall, early winter if they weren't capable of withstanding ordinary cold temperatures that we frequently experience in the southeast and other parts of the country. Okay, so poppies, larkspur, nigella, bachelor buttons, carrots, dara, all of the things, the grains, most of the greens, particularly leafy greens, the heading vegetables are a little more sensitive, but all of these things are going to be perfectly fine with the cold snap that is coming up. Honestly, I've been doing this for, like I said, over 20 years. Generally speaking, less is more. Now, if the cold temperatures were going down into single digits for sustained, say, 3 to 5 days, I might be giving you different advice. But this current cold snap where temperatures are dropping into the mid to low teens, less is more. Containers, I'll have a separate video telling you about my approach to containers. Container plants are a little bit more sensitive, but anything that you have growing in the ground, just leave them be. I really don't recommend covering them. If you do cover them, use a very lightweight material like Rime, which is also called frost cloth. But honestly, thick plastic is not to your advantage because if it's windy, it can do a lot of damage if it's not well secured. And if you get precipitation, thick plastic will be really heavy and it'll crush the plants. So this is why I generally recommend don't cover your plants at all, just let them be. What about things that are like more sensitive, like everything here? They're gonna be what they are. I'm gonna harvest the lettuce for sure, because lettuce is one of the least cold hardy plants. And frankly, that would be perfect to serve for the holidays. So that actually is like my motivation for finally getting out here and harvesting it, because it's been so pretty. I didn't want to ruin it. But honestly, 16 degrees would damage lettuce, especially lettuce that's this advanced. But other than that, I'm not going to do anything for this border. I know for sure the barley is going to be totally fine. Might be that the crimson clover dies back, but it'll come back in the spring when it's warm again. And the heading vegetables, we'll just let them be. And, if they get damaged, it doesn't matter. Like, what are the actual consequences? An opportunity to replant when it gets warmer. Well, I hope this video will be helpful for all of you. Remember, less is more. Poppies are totally cold hardy, as are all of the other cottage garden seeds that I always talk about and grow every year. Really, the cold snap is in many ways actually quite good. So many plants actually need better fertilization than we get in recent winters. So this isn't the end of the world. And remember, poppies are really cold hardy, so just leave them alone. That's the very best advice I can give. Well, I hope that this will be useful. Please give me a like, share it with your friends, don't worry. And I hope that you will have a happy, healthy, and warm-ish holiday season. And I appreciate so much all of you following along and taking my advice in the garden. Thanks so much for watching, everybody.